As usual, I have had coffee, so I am all enthusiastic. I am all ready to talk and things like that. And Taters is just sitting there, grumping at me. So we had actually debated maybe zeroing here. We ended up not because we took that Nero a couple of days before. While I really appreciate the hotel, this particular hotel is kind of run down. Like all the fixtures are falling off the wall. The shower, when you turn it on, starts squirting water out weird ways. And there is a all-encompassing smell of smoke that like pops out of all the walls. If the air conditioner turns off at all because somebody can't stand anything that's beyond unpleasantly warm,
It's so cold.
That's a personality quirk, not the temperature. Yeah, then you smell smoke. I don't know what's going on, whether it's just one of those old hotels that used to be smoking or whether they like allow smoking right under here and it's coming through the vents. But also there were kids running around till like 12:30 last night. Okay, I have not had near enough coffee this morning, but fortunately we're going to breakfast with friends from Florida who actually live up here. One of those weird trail things. He just doesn't pack it down quite as much.
Nice sleeping bag. It's already heating up.
So way back in February, I just happened to meet some people who were out for a day hike in February, and it turned out they lived up in northern Pennsylvania. And they were like, oh yeah, you should contact us when you get up here. And they just reached out, so we went and they bought us breakfast this morning and coffee. I have had so much coffee. Today is such a good day. I've had like 12 cups of coffee. Can you tell? Can you tell? So not only have I had like 12 cups of coffee and it was good coffee, but let's see. Blondie went for donuts and morning coffee, you know, pre-coffee coffee. And then we went out to eat and I ate 2 breakfasts because, you know, the breakfasts were sized for normal people. So I'm almost like 2/3 of the way full now. Ah, yes, the grand wilderness that is the AT. And you hear the birds chirping, the deer grazing. This bridge is bouncing like you wouldn't believe as the big trucks go by.
Video time.
And make sure you capture all my hiccups.
Nice.
Okay, you see this? This is why I get to start in Morocco when I do the IAT thing. Assuming Blondie gets a 3rd night job. See, I love stretches where I'm actually on flat trail or sidewalks or things because that lets me both hike and multitask running the Taters social media empire. I like to say we're the social media empire equivalent of Sealand. Really tiny and nobody cares about us. Welcome to New Jersey, where the first parking lot had about 25 signs warning you not to leave any of your valuables in the car because they will be stolen.
All right, this is my kind of hiking out of Delaware Water Gap. Lush, shaded by a pretty creek with lots of little waterfalls. Interestingly, this area got protected largely because they were going to build a dam out here. And the dam was fought and it ended up not being built. But they had already, had no people or businesses or anything. So it turned into a rec area.
It is beautiful out here, but it's also the tail end of a little mini heat wave. It's in the 90s yesterday and now low 90s today. Super high humidity. And it looks like there's the potential for more severe storms. Blondie, do you remember how blessedly cold it was in the hotel room last night?
I mean, how miserably freezing
So
it was.
blessedly cold, dry.
It's so nice to be able to walk around without wearing a jacket and long johns.
Yeah, with everything soaking wet, because sweat.
So no turtles the last couple days, but these orange salamanders do come out occasionally when it gets wet still. And this one is so little.
Wow.
Halfway around, we gotta show you there's a beaver hut.
All right, so this is more like it.
With their boom boxes.
Biggest lake we've seen so far on the trail, and continuing the super cool reptile streak, there was a lake snake. This is called Sunfish Pond, and it was actually glacially carved and gets to be 60 feet deep.
So we just got shushed so Taters could do narration. So.
You don't have to.
Damn it, I just missed her saying her catchphrase.
Lots of evidence of active recent beaver activity, so if we get lucky here, maybe we'll actually get to see one this time.
Fluffy beavers! We wish they would get rid of filters or make them into natural fibers.
Okay, and we are back on our own, suffering through the midday heat, and apparently we're going to be hit by a storm around 5 o'clock. So all the sweat's going to get turned to just rain wetness once again. It was really fun getting to meet those two after, running into Florida months ago, and just so happened they had a place up here, and they said that they wanted to come out and meet me when I got up here, and they've been following me off and on, and they happened to just catch me right in time. It's always kind of neat, the people that you wouldn't normally have met, other than the fact you just happened to through hike, and for whatever reason, like ships passing in the night. So far New Jersey has actually felt, like a change from where we just were in PA. Kind of get the impression on this ridge that if, trees weren't blocking the view, I'd really be enjoying this. Just ran into trail magic from Reedy Man, but he had just given away the last cold beer he had. We could have had warm beer, but he said he had seen about 15 through hikers today, so looks like we've hit the next bubble along the line.
So sometimes people ask me if I feel safe when I'm out hiking, and generally my answer is yes. All things considered, you're a lot safer doing a walk in the woods than you are taking a drive around the city. Especially once you get more than a mile or two away from trailheads and roads and such. Anyone who's walked in that far is usually pretty decent people, in my experience. The only thing that's made me feel unsafe, and you generally only see this within a mile or two of a trailhead, is when you see someone carrying a weapon, like a large knife or a gun, and they don't appear to be a hunter, where they would have a specific reason to have that. The other day, there were 3 of us that were sitting by a spring, getting some rest and some water, and someone came down to the spring who had both a large knife and a gun on their belt, and made all 3 of us feel really uncomfortable. The thing is, even in the best case scenario, they're totally harmless, no bad intentions or anything. It's just jarring and uncomfortable to see the capacity for violence in an environment that is otherwise so tranquil and peaceful. And if it's not the best case scenario, you don't know this person. You don't know what might make them get jumpy or angry. And if they do, that could turn into a tragedy very quickly. So if we do see someone who visibly is carrying a weapon out here, we generally just try to stay away from them as much as possible.
Okay, we are now under a severe thunderstorm watch yet again, a heat advisory yet again, and a flash flood watch, because of course. And fire tower time. Way up here on the tower. Okay, sadly you can't actually get into the tower itself, but that's understandable. Still plenty high up. It is a little before 5. We are filling up. There's a spring right back there. And then we are going to duck into a tent. Basically, we've been up on a ridge all day. This is a little saddle in the ridge, I guess, that's down lower, and then we climb back up again. And considering we got a severe thunderstorm that's supposed to hit us in an hour and change, we'd rather be down a little lower.
We decided to make camp early and take shelter from the storm. And I'm excited because check out this piece of ground. This is the best piece of ground I have seen in weeks. Notice the lack of rocks, roots, and other pokey things. This is gonna be the best sleep we've gotten in weeks.
She's still gonna put me over a root somehow. I don't know how, but...
Nope. Home sweet home for the night.
So in other news, a 5-year-old article on my website now has got me an email threatening to sue me for $500 because apparently one of the image used is owned by some French digital rights company.
Coffee time in the morning. I'm dealing with the fact I have to get up and hike all day. Blondie is currently sleeping off the fact that since Taters Tuesday was technically that Nero and she didn't get to do much, somebody may have pressured her into basically doing a lot yesterday, so she's just so exhausted from all that video.
Okay, so the whole storm thing yesterday was a bit of a bust. We pulled over. We heard some thunder in the background, but nothing really hit us. So, well, turns out we should have gone on. But good news, hey, today there's storms all over the place, so looks like we're probably gonna get wet. So yeah, I know this is kind of what do you expect, but we're camped within a few tenths of a mile of Rattlesnake Spring. And this is the worst mosquitoes I've seen since coming out here. Other than Florida, where they were out for like 10, 15 minutes right around dark. We had a not insignificant number in the tent, and even after trying to kill them all, this morning we woke up and there were a couple that, you know, splatter blood across the tent when you smack them. Also, that's the trail. And there is a parking lot over there somewhere. So we had large groups of seemingly drunk people wander by last night. So not the most restful sleep. The storm never did appear. We did have some thunder off in the distance. We ended up sitting there watching the first episode of Firefly, which Taters has never seen. Yeah, I know. It's like, I can understand not knowing who the Beatles are, but not having seen Firefly. So I really wish we had pushed on, got another 5 miles last night, but what are you gonna do? Today it's showing rain hitting, whoa, another mosquito, around 12. And now I shall get unhappy. My God, hiking before 8 o'clock. What has the world come to? Okay, I'm a big fan of signs because my personal theory is, you know, something has to happen at least like 3 or 4 times before somebody makes a sign. So like that, I know a graveyard that says no burying without permission. So that means like 3 people tried to bury grandma without permission. So how many people are losing their vehicles out here? Jeez. Man, I could have been swimming this morning. Beaver bog. Still on the warm side, but at least the sun's shining, at least for now. Higher chance of rain later in the afternoon, and pretty sure we're gonna get rained on overnight. Also, it looks like Tropical Storm Elsa may actually reach us up here. So things may get interesting at some point. Right now it's in Georgia and Maryland, I guess. But next couple of days, I've heard it's tracking west, and we may actually feel it. A little before 9, and I'm starting to hear thunder off to the left. Good times. Okay, and starting to see rather fresh blowdowns again. Good times. Just starting to come down. Little guy. And mama. See, I feel like it's my responsibility to help educate people out here, which is why I was just having a conversation with these nice ladies back there about how Vertical Limit is the greatest climbing movie of all time. And if you disagree, you are wrong. It came up because there's this movie called North Face, which was a great movie until the last quarter where love conquers hypothermia. Also, the bad climbers in that movie, that was total bullshit because they were actually part of the team that was climbing, if you look at the original story, and they got turned into like Disney villains. And we got onto that topic because Interstellar was a great movie until the last third, where Power of Love and hiding in a bookshelf making dust motes somehow became the resolution for an otherwise fairly good movie. And led to that awesome meme about how much we've spent rescuing Matt Damon from World War II, deep space, and Mars. And maybe we're not done with the rain this morning. Obviously not done with the rocks. It is damn dark for cutting something in the morning. Man, I'm getting flashback to the Smokies here. Fog and thunder and lightning. And Taters is happy because we found blueberries. I'm really confused by what's going on in the world. I've had people not understand my orders for draft beer and a hamburger in the last week or two. Calm between the storms, at least for the moment. So I think that light patch over there we can probably set up in, Jen. Okay, unfortunately we kind of have crap for options at the shelter itself. There's way too many mosquitoes and there's already somebody up there, so this is the best we can find. Freaking shelter country. Home sweet home for the night.